Hello and welcome to this demonstration of Back Paddock Mobile 5. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of the changes to the mobile app update, including adjustments to the home page, improvements to the sync functionality, improvements to the farm tab to make creating a season plan a little bit easier, and some updates to the recommendation and application tabs. The first thing that you will notice when you install the latest is that the home page has had a bit of a refresh. So you've still got all of the same functionality that you need available there. So Soulmate Mobile is at the top, the mobile and corner post, but we've also added some handy links through to the help desk and to the information library so that you can quickly access any support that you might need while using the app to create a farm plan or to create recommendations. The other thing that has changed from the home page is that the settings icon used to be a little cogwheel in the top right corner. Now it is that symbol with the 3 lines, but if you open that up by touching on it, you'll see all of the same settings that you need are still available there. In terms of sync functionality, you would have noticed with the last update that you started getting some push notifications for if you've got client files synced that any changes have been made to, you'll start to get these notifications come through on your device in your notification center. You need to sync them. With the update to Mobile 5, what you'll notice is that if you're in a client file and a change has been made to that client file by somebody else or by yourself on your computer or on a different app, you'll get a quick sync notification come up. So the app will automatically do a quick sync to bring those latest changes into the client file that you open, just to make sure that you're working on the latest version of the file at the time. I'm going to open up a client file now and take you into the Farm tab so that we can have a look at what's changed there. So I'm going to touch Advisor Mobile, touch on a client file name. I'm going to choose a paddock from here and touch it to open. And then I'm going to touch the green Add button in the top toolbar to add a management zone for the 20. Then I'm going to touch Done. That's created that new management zone for me. So I'm going to touch on the management zone to enter it. And once I'm in here, you'll see that there's been a bit of a change to the format of this farm tab. So everything is now organized in tabs up the top to make it a bit easier to access. And so you don't have as much scrolling to do when you're adding in a farm plan. And it also makes it a lot easier to use the app on a mobile device rather than an iPad. Anything with a red box around it is required data. So to add a crop type, I'm going to touch in that red box that says crop type and then select a crop from the drop-down list. And now that I've got a crop type in there, I'm going to touch on the next tab, which is fertilizer. And to add a fertilizer, I'm going to touch the green plus button next to fertilizer, and again choosing a fertilizer by touching the red box and then selecting a product. Once I've got my fertilizer in there, there's a couple of extra options that you might need, and you can find those by putting your finger on the fertilizer name and then sliding the whole thing to the left. That's going to bring up some extra options here. So these little symbols, the first one is the copy from plan to actuals function. So if you touch that one, it'll copy that fertilizer over to actuals for you. The second one is the create recommendation function. So if you touch that one, it will take you through to create a rec with the fertilizer and the paddocks already selected in it. And then the third one is where you would delete this fertilizer from. So to close those options, I just touch anywhere else on the screen in the blank space. Next, I'm going to add some chemicals. So I'm going to touch the chemicals tab and again touching the green plus symbol to add a new chemical mix. I'm required to add the timing in of this mix. And once I've got that timing in, you'll see that it's automatically allocated this as mix 1, and I'm ready to add some chemicals in. So to do that, I put my finger on anywhere in the mix and I slide it now to the right. And that's going to bring up these additional symbols here. So the first one is the one that I use to add chemicals. So touch the test tube icon. And now I can add a chemical into this mix by selecting one from the list. And then I'm going to slide it to the left to the right again, and then the second symbol available there is for adding adjuvants. So if I touch that one, I now have an option to add an adjuvant. And then I'm going to slide it across again to the right. And then these two star symbols are related to my favorite mixes. So the first one is if I wanted to create a template out of this mix that I've already created. So if I give it a name and then touch OK, that will then be available in my list to load into any other paddocks quickly and easily. And then the second symbol with the star and the arrow going off to the right is if I wanted to add a favorite that I've already created back into this paddock. So this one I've just created is now available for me to select. If I select it, it will just add it straight into that paddock for me. The operations and production tab still work in the same way. So if I go over to operations, I can add a new operation by touching the green add button and touching on my operation. There's also a new option to add in some notes related to that operation if there's anything else that I needed to record. Production is where I add in my expected yields and prices. So these are now organized in a little table off to the right. So low expected and high yields and low expected and high prices can be added just by touching in those boxes. And then touching that number and then adding a new one. And then I'll just press enter on my keyboard and then touch off to close. And I've now got that yield data recorded in there for expected low yield. I'm going to now go across to the recommendation tab so that we can have a look at some things that have changed there. You'll notice there's been a bit of a refresh of the way that this looks as well. So job ID numbers will now come up looking like this, and you'll see to the right of them that they've got, depending on what kind of recommendation they are. So the first one at the bottom is a chemical recommendation. The next one is a nutrient application. The second one from the top is a crop establishment recommendation, so that's for sowing. And then the top one is an operations recommendation. We've sorted the recommendations into these different types to make them a bit easier to use and also so that they line up with the Paddock Book app, which allows farmers to quickly and easily record actuals out in the field. So I'll show you how they work if I add a new recommendation by touching the green add button in the top left and then done. You can see the options that you have available here are separated into these 5 different kinds of recommendations. So I'm going to touch farm operation because that's the new one. And I can now add a recommendation for an operation the same way that I would for a chemical mix or a nutrient application. So I'm going to touch in the box that says set target paddocks to choose my paddocks and then select a couple from the list. Touch done. And then I can add an operation by touching the green button to the right of farm operations and then selecting my operation from the list and touching done. And that means that I can send through that recommendation for a particular operation to the client at the time that it needs to be done rather than adding it straight into the plan. So from here, I'm going to touch back to get back to my list of recommendations. Back on the list, there's a couple of different ways that I can view the details for these recommendations. So if I want to just view a bit of a summary of each of them, I can touch the little plus symbols to the left, open them up. So if I touch that first one, it's going to give me an indication of what paddocks they apply to and when it was created. Or if I want to see all of them at once, I can touch the settings icon and then click the slider that says expand all and then save and touch off to open. And then that will have expanded all of my recommendations at once. I'm going to now jump across to the application tab. I'm going to go through applying one of these recommendations. So if you've sent it through to your client or you are the farmer, then this is where you would apply the recommendation once it's been done. We've made a couple of updates to this so that when you create an application event and then you mark that as complete, that is all you have to do, and it will then mark the overall recommendation as complete just in that one step. So I'll take you through that. I'm just going to touch this bottom job number 8, and we're going to create an application event for this. So to do that, I touch the add application event, and then the options that are required are indicated by the ones that say required. So start time and end time are what I need to enter. I'm just going to touch in start time, add a start time, and then end time for today. Then I'm going to touch done. So that's added this application event. The status is still pending. So once that's been complete, all I need to do is touch the little blue eye to the right of it and then touch complete. That will take me through to this page where I can copy it straight to actuals. So to do that, I would just touch done, and the application or the chemicals in that application will automatically be copied to actuals for the paddocks that they apply to. I'm just going back to this list. The display for the application tab works in the same way as the recommendation tab. So if I wanted to expand all of them, I can just touch the settings and then expand all and touch off. And then I can see all of them available there. Here I can touch any of the little blue eye symbols next to those recommendations and then just select not implemented. And that will change the status of that one. So that's an overview of some of the changes, or the majority of the changes that have come through in the latest update to Back Paddock Mobile 5. Any questions or you need any assistance with using the mobile app or any of our programs, please don't hesitate to give us a call on the help desk or to email into support@backpaddock.com.au.